The rain was falling like the sky itself was crying that night. Headlights cut through the storm, reflecting on wet asphalt as a black car rolled slowly along the empty road. Inside sat Armin Malik, a man known across the city as the youngest and coldest CEO of the Malik Empire. He had everything: money, power, respect, yet as the rain pounded harder, all he could feel was the silence that lived inside him. He had just left another business dinner where everyone smiled at his success but no one asked how he was. It was always the same: a success without warmth, a mansion without laughter. Just as he turned onto the highway, a small shadow appeared ahead. Armin hit the brakes hard and through the sheets of rain. He saw her, a young woman, soaked to the bone, standing in the middle of the road, clutching something close to her chest. He frowned, rolled down his window slightly, and before he could speak, she ran toward the car and knocked desperately on the glass. Her voice trembled through the rain. "Please see broken bar, my child is sick. I don't know what to do." For a second, he froze. CEOs didn't stop for strangers. That's what his world had taught him: never get involved. But something in her eyes, that raw, pleading fury, made him reach for the door handle. "Get in," he said quietly. She hesitated, then slid into the seat, trembling, her thin shawl dripping onto the leather. In her arms was a little boy, maybe 3 years old, pale and shivering. Armin glanced at her through the rearview mirror. "What happened to him?" he asked. She sniffled, brushing hair from her face. "He has a fever. I was walking to the hospital, but the bus broke down. A broken bar, please. Can you help us?" Without another word, Armin pressed on the accelerator. The car sliced through the storm as thunder rolled. Inside, silence hung thick except for the child's weak breathing. Armin glanced again at the woman. She looked barely in her 20s, exhaustion carved into her eyes. He caught himself asking softly, "What's your name?" She looked at him, startled by his tone. "Myra," she whispered. "And this is my son, Ian." The hospital lights glowed faintly through the rain as they pulled in. Armin helped her out, covering her with his coat. Doctors rushed Ian inside. Myra turned to Armin, tears mixing with the rain. "Thank you, a broken bar. I didn't know what else to do. Everyone just passed me by." Her voice cracked, and something inside him shifted. He had been one of those people once, too busy to notice pain that didn't belong to him. Hours passed. Armin stayed in the hospital lobby, staring at the rain outside. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about meetings or numbers. He was thinking about that small boy fighting to breathe. When the doctor finally came out, Myra ran to him. "He's stable now," the doctor said with a smile. Myra broke down crying. Armin found himself walking over, placing a hand on her shoulder. "He'll be okay," he said softly. When the morning light came, the rain had stopped. Myra was sitting beside her sleeping son, her clothes still damp, eyes red from crying. Armin brought her a cup of tea. "You should rest," he said. She looked at him, confused. "Why are you still here?" He shrugged, unsure of the answer himself. Maybe because for the first time in years, he didn't feel lonely. Over the next few days, Armin visited often, bringing food, toys, even clothes. Myra protested at first, but his kindness was gentle, never demanding. Slowly, a quiet friendship formed between them. She told him about her life, how her husband had abandoned her after Ian's birth, how she worked at a small cafe till the copyright, struggling to survive. Armin listened, realizing how far removed his world was from the one she lived in. Yet somehow, it was her strength, not her weakness, that humbled him. When Ian was discharged, Armin offered to drive them home. Their home was a small rented room at the edge of the city, damp walls, flickering lights, and a leaky roof. That night, when he dropped them off, Ian hugged him tightly. "Thank you, Uncle," the boy said. Armin froze for a second, then smiled, a genuine, unfamiliar smile. It felt a broken bar warm. Days turned into weeks. Armin found excuses to see them, bringing groceries, helping Myra out with bills, even reading bedtime stories to Ian. The once lonely CEO who ate alone in his penthouse now found himself laughing over cheap noodles in a cramped kitchen. Myra's kindness was simple, unpolished, but it healed something he didn't even know was broken. One evening, as they sat by the window watching the rain again, Myra looked at him quietly. "Why do you do all this for us?" she asked. He took a breath. "Because that night, When you knocked on my car window and broken bar, I think you saved me, too." Tears welled in her eyes. Ian ran in, giggling, holding a small toy car Armin had given him. In that tiny room, something unspoken bloomed, a not romance born of luxury, but connection born of humanity. Months later, Armin would open a new charity foundation, the Ian Hope Trust, helping single mothers and children in need. Reporters called it his image rebuild, but those who truly knew it wasn't for the cameras. It was for the night when a soaked girl had knocked on a lonely man's window and reminded him what it meant to be alive. And whenever it rained, Armin would drive slowly, not out of fear but in case someone, somewhere, was waiting in the dark, a broken bar just needing someone to stop.